go. Here we are. It's the PFA birthday stream. Yes. Her birthday's tomorrow. It's in a few hours, actually. But that's why we're doing Demonverse After Dark on a Wednesday. Have we ever done a Wednesday stream before? I don't know. Football's typically not on Wednesdays. But here we are. Here we are. What is going on, everybody? We got Ashley here. I saw Ashley in the chat, so her title was on screen the second we start the stream. There it is. Hello, Demonverse. She says, happy birthday, PFA, says Jeremy JB. Thank you so much. Loco Monkey's here. He says, yo, what's going on, Loco? Howdy, Demonites. Happy birthday, PFA. Rich, you're 24 seconds late. Rowdy is a stickler for time. He's a stickler for time, ladies and gentlemen. I will try. But wait a minute. Do you count? Because I count it the second the stream begins. Not the second my face comes on stream. The second you see that little demon head or whatever that is to start the stream. So that's when I count it. So was I still 24 seconds late? Sorry about that. John Scripture, what's going on? Thank you, everybody, for the happy birthdays. Asma Star is here. Remy the Enforcer says, happy birthday, PFA, who shares her name with my wife. Your wife's name is PFA, too. That's crazy. That's insane. Building a Lego food truck with my daughter. Very nice. Is it a life-size one? That'd be fun. Happy birthday, PFA, says SG. Thank you very much, guys, for all the birthday wishes. She will be pleased to know that she is being represented well by the Demonverse. Man, a lot of crazy things to get to tonight. I don't even know where to begin. I suppose the Malik Willis thing, but there is a lot. It's a giant burger. Oh, you're making a giant burger? That's cool. That's cool. I love Legos. I don't know how to operate them. I mean, I know they click together, but as far as building those things, they come with instructions now, right? Loco says, happy birthday, PFA. Thank you very much, Loco. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things. Speaking of Loco, he's a Denver Broncos fan. And the Denver Broncos are giving the play calling, they're taking the play, well, not taking the play calling away from, I shouldn't say that. But the play calling is going to be going to the offensive coordinator, Davis Webb, which is very interesting. So he's 31 years old. You know, you all know him as a former quarterback. He played in the league recently. This is going to be interesting because apparently he just blew away Jason Voorhees, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Just blew him away with his play calling prowess. He says he's elite, so he's giving him the play calling. This leads me to believe if the Denver Broncos make a big run again next year, which we have every reason to believe they should, or they could, he's going to be a head coach candidate. And I've been looking at some of the teams who are going to be looking for a head coach or could be looking for a head coach. The New York Jets are going to be one of them. Not a lot of teams. Maybe the Minnesota Vikings, right? If the Kevin O'Connell thing, they need a quarterback. They need to figure out what to do with quarterback. Could it be Derek Carr? Could it be Malik Willis? Could it be we're hearing a lot more Mac Jones talk, where apparently San Francisco is putting the word out there, like, hey, if you want Mac Jones, come to us with a very, very, very hefty offer. So they're putting it out there. Jeff's party, the throne is no longer open. Jeff's party comes in with a $5 and says, trade idea and grade. Jets trade a first rounder, second rounder, and Breece Hall for Dak Prescott. I'm aware that Dak has a no trade clause. That Jeff's party, as great as that would be for you Dallas Cowboys fans, there is no way on earth that is happening because this is the one time I'm going to cover Darren Muji's face in honor of PFA. But this man right here, whose face is behind the A, that A stands for awesome when it comes to him, by the way. He's never going to do that. He is never going to do that. No way. There is no way. We're not in the shape this team is in. If this was a few years ago when we had Zach Wilson and we were just rolling Mike White out there, I would say, okay, maybe that's a possibility, and I would be happy about it. But not right now. Dak Prescott's getting older. That's a big contract to take on. I'm sorry, that's not. And then what? We're going to trade the first rounder back to you to bring in Dak Prescott and your second rounder back to you, and we're going to give you Breece Hall. I would lose my mind. That would be an immediate Darren Muji heel turn. That can't happen. That can't happen. No, what the Jets are going to do this year is they are going, apparently I'm hearing they're going pass rusher and wide receiver in the first round. That's the word on the street. We'll see if that is what actually happens. But I think it's going to depend on how the draft falls, obviously. It's going to be with the second pick. I mean, the Jets basically have the pickable litter because Fernando Mendoza is going first, unless the Raiders get offered something ridiculous. But again, I don't see that happen. I don't see a scenario where Fernando Mendoza doesn't go first. I am trying to get Jeff Sparty's name up on screen here. Hold on, because he is the supreme ruler of the stream right now, and I don't know what's happening. It's only been a week since I've done this. I shouldn't be this out of practice. There we go. Okay, there we go. Jeff Sparty is the supreme ruler of the stream. Thank you so much, Jeff. Yeah, that can't happen. Darren Muji is the GOAT. SG knows. He was one of the first people here to spot it, and I really appreciate him for that. Yeah, that can't happen. As far as what they're going to do with the quarterback position, Tanner McGee, I'm hearing, or Davis Mills, one of those guys, I'd be fine with that. Just let them come in, see what they can do. And I don't know how many games we're going to win. I still, even with one of those guys, I'm looking at this saying maybe a 3 to 5 game, 3 to 5 win season would be in the cards. Again, depending on how the draft goes, who we pick in the draft. But I wholeheartedly see us going into next year with a new head coach and looking at that draft for a quarterback. Apparently, the quarterback, whose name I forget at the time, the guy who played for Penn State and got hurt, is going to throw at the combine or is going to throw soon. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, you want to take a swing on a guy like that in the 5th round or something, but if he looks good, he can move up draft boards. I mean, he's one of those guys that people look at and say he's a big dude with a strong arm. Maybe we could take a shot on him. Seems like it would be right up Frank Reich's alley. By the way, Fixes is here. What's going on? Seahawks trade a 1st and a 2nd. And Maffei, and maybe hold Tom Brady at gunpoint for Max Crosby. Yeah, Max Crosby. Max Crosby's interesting. I think it's going to take 2 firsts. And because the Seahawks have the last pick in the 1st round, a lot of teams, like the Patriots, could afford to pay him, and they have a higher pick. They might be willing to go 2 first. Who knows? Drew Allar. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, Drew Allar. Have you touched on the idea of the Jets getting Mac Jones yet? It's not happening. They're going to want too much for Mac Jones. I don't see Mac Jones succeeding with the Jets. I think Mac Jones is going to, if it's not Kevin O'Connell, I worry about him. Maybe if it's Mike LaFleur, I feel a little better about it, but I don't see the Cardinals doing that either. I think they're going to be heavily in the Malik Willis scenario to see, maybe he goes there. I thought he was going to be getting about 25 to 30 mil a year. It looks like he's going to be getting about 30 to 35 now. So, yeah, I don't know. So Jeff Sparty, let me just see something here. Jeff Sparty is close. First of all, we got contenders here. We got Rowdy Eggplant. I always call him Eggplant. Sorry, Rowdy. Rowdy's here, Melissa Klein, Samuel Miller, Mike Causey, and Dude. That rounds out your top 5. Jeff Sparty is getting close to being a contender, by the way. He's about $104 away. Just to let you know who's next on the contender list after that. So, yeah, the Mac Jones to the Jets, they would have to give up too much. It doesn't make sense for them to give up as much as they would have to give up. Something interesting about Kyle Shanahan and the scenarios with quarterbacks that he's had. Every quarterback that he's kind of let walk or has separated from him in one way or another, like Matt Ryan and so on and so forth, had their numbers and their prowess has significantly gone down since parting with Kyle Shanahan, except for Sam Darnold, who went on to win a Super Bowl, but he made a pit stop at Kevin O'Connell. So that is you go from Kyle Shanahan to Kevin O'Connell, I think that is the secret sauce for greatness. And Mac Jones going to Minnesota, I think, would be a home run. But, you know, we'll see. But with the Jets, no. No, I wouldn't. We were going to have to give up, 2 second-rounders for Mac Jones? No. I would. We need so much help. I would rather just take my chances in the draft next year. A lot of quarterbacks coming out. We're probably going to have a high pick. It wouldn't make sense to do that this year. Would not make sense. Wait a minute. Loco put oh my God, look at that. That is awesome. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get that on screen here. Let's see. Locos. Here we go. I'm gonna put that up on screen if you don't mind, Loco. Let me just fix it a little bit. This is the hamburger truck that Loco is making with his daughter right now. And it looks beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Is that excellent or what? Wait a second. Who just came in here and train all day says Loco's only purpose is to rage bait. Look at that. That is very nice, though. That is very nice. Good job. I wonder how long that took. Did that take very long? I'm telling you, man, I can't do things like, I'm sure I can if I put my mind to it. I've missed the football discourse. Yeah, I miss football so much. Happy birthday, PFA Vanessa, says Samuel Miller. Thank you very much, Samuel Miller. Someone trade Sean McVay out of the division. I hate how the NFC West has Shanahan, McVay, and McDonald. Why couldn't the Seahawks play in the South? So much less stress. And now you have Mike LaFleur, who I believe is going to be a hell of a head coach. I mean, and I know this because I'm a Jets fan, but when he had Mike White and Josh Johnson, those guys were putting up 350-yard games, almost 400-yard games. And it's just that he operates such a such a quarterback-friendly system. That's why if Malik Willis goes there, I think that's a brilliant spot for him, and I think he will continue to succeed. I think Pittsburgh's a place where he can succeed because I think McCarthy is good with quarterbacks. That's probably not going to happen because who knows when's Aaron Rodgers going to make his goddamn decision? We go through this every year. He's just sitting there hanging out. I think he knows what he's going to do, but he wants to make us all wait. But, do any of us care other than Pittsburgh fans? I think Pittsburgh fans are more angry because they're like, well, you're going to kind of screw us on maybe making an offer to a Malik Willis or something, which you would probably do better with Malik Willis, honestly. Sup, everyone. There is the keeper of the belts. Make way for the Jets Hall of Fame quarterback, Mike F. White. Yes, it's spring training time, baby. The best thing to do in American sports going on right now, says Rowdy. They are cutting him. TW is amazing, but he's damn near 40 and not worth his contract whatsoever, says Fixes. So, Schefter yesterday. Oh, yes. This is interesting. Niners and left tackle Trent Williams are currently at a crossroads regarding his contract. Williams expected to be cut if no contractual situation is worked out. Thoughts? 38 years old he's going to be going into the season. I have actually a little tidbit here, SG, on that. Some information on the Niners with and without Trent Williams. So, their win-loss record with Trent Williams, by the way, 62 wins, 33 losses. Without, they are 4-13. Turnover differential with Trent Williams plus 13. Without Trent Williams, minus 24. That's a big deal. Points per game with Trent Williams, 25.9. Without, 19.8. Rushing yards per game with Trent Williams, 131. Without, 93.8. Passer rating, 99.1. With Trent Williams, 89.1. Without Trent Williams. I mean, if they don't sign him, they desperately need to go tackle in the first round of this draft. Because those numbers are scary. Those numbers are scary, and apparently he wants a long-term deal, and John Lynch was like, the guy's 38 years. I mean, he basically said the guy's 38 years old. We can't really guarantee him anything. But, still plays at a high level when he plays. The numbers don't lie. But does he fall off a cliff at 38? I don't know. He puts his hands on you, you're not going anywhere. So it's interesting. The NFC is baffling to me. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But Jeff's Party comes in with a tenor, says two things. Will we ever have a quarterback like Andrew Luck ever again? It seems that there have been some compared to him, but he was flawless coming out of college. Also, is it your birthday today? No, it's PFA's birthday, my wife. Her birthday is tomorrow. That's why the stream is on a Wednesday, because we're going to be celebrating her birthday tomorrow. But thank you very much, Jeff's Party. Let me get that updated here for you. Yeah, will we ever see? I'm sure we'll see another quarterback like Andrew Luck in our lifetime. I'm sure we'll coming out of college. I'm sure we're going to see that at some point. Wasn't Trevor Lawrence close to that, where they were like, this guy is a can't miss prospect? He was close to that in the eyes of some, not all, but I think we'll see it again. Hopefully, if we do get a quarterback like that, we will not be robbed. And the Colts should have been, I don't know, kicked out of the league or something for doing what they did. And the Bengals are right around the corner to that, because if they get Joe Burrow murdered back there, oh man, I'm going to be so angry. I'm going to be so angry if we get robbed of Joe Burrow. We're already being robbed of Joe Burrow in the playoffs for 3 consecutive years. And speaking of the AFC North, the SG is going to want to be, oh, sorry, Jeff's Party. You are not 10. That's 15. That should be 15. My bad. Let me fix that. Speaking of the AFC North, so Lamar Jackson. Well, so as we knew, they're gonna offer Tyler Linderbaum the massive deal. He's gonna take it. He's gonna stay with Baltimore. That's wise. But Jesse Minter has come out and talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson, saying, he doesn't really want him to run as much anymore. And I agree. I mean, Lamar's getting up there. Is he going to be 30 this year, or is he already 30? Let me see Lamar Jackson's age really quick. So Lamar Jackson is 29. So this is going to be his 20. He just turned 29. Okay. So, yeah, it doesn't mean he can't move. He can still move. He's still an elite athlete. But do you want him just running out there, out in the open? Just out in the open field all the time? Do you want to make him plays like that? Risking injury. It's tough. The Ravens, man, I'm looking at that AFC North, and I'm just like, I don't know if the Ravens are going to make the playoffs this year. And they didn't make the playoffs this past year, and I thought they would. I had them at 15-2 in my predictions. Actually, that was Mr. Demer's predictions. My prediction was exactly what they finished with. But 15-2 is what Demarest had them at. So he thought highly of them. And, obviously Lamar Jackson got injured. Everything went downhill. But next year, I don't know what to make of them. If I had to pick one team other than the Cleveland Browns, who are in the Malik Willis conversation, by the way, and that could be interesting. It's not like the Cleveland Browns are devoid of talent. I got to see what happens with their offensive line, because everybody's a free agent on their offensive line. They're not devoid of talent, and I think Todd Monken could be a capable head coach. So, that would be interesting. But if there is a team other than the Browns in that division that I'm looking at saying they're going to be the odd man out, it's the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I think I have more faith in the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow healthy all year, if they can do that, to make the playoffs. Because Joe Burrow is just a freak. He's a freak of nature. We're not dealing with 2018 Lamar Jackson. No, he's 29, says Matt West. Yeah. 30 this time next year. Yeah, still, though, getting up there. And Jesse Minter already coming out saying, yeah, we don't want you running, man. Not as much. The Browns, I'll tell you, man, LOL the Browns all you want, but if they get Malik Willis, they become an interesting team all of a sudden. I love Cedric Tillman. They have a running game. Got Myles Garrett. You can use your early draft pick on a top defensive player. You could even trade down, maybe double up on guys. I don't know. But it is going to be interesting. This whole Malik Willis situation is just, I'm so locked into it because I want to know where he goes. The Jets are out. And people are asking me, is Malik Willis going to be a Jet? No, why? He's not going to be a Jet. Why would he? I mean, they could offer them the money, but why would he want to come here in this situation? when he could, go to a team like, I mean, if you look at the Arizona Cardinals, look at the talent that they have on offense. You got Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. I still like Trey Benson. We'll see if he could stay healthy, but maybe they do something. And there'll be a lot of running backs available in free agency. Some good running backs coming out of the draft too. That'll be an interesting situation. And I think the Niners are on the way down right now, especially if they're not bringing back Trent Williams. Well, if that situation stays the way it is. The Rams are a problem and the Seahawks are a problem, obviously, but the Arizona Cardinals could be a team on the rise in that division. Could be. JB is here. What's going on, JB? Good to see you. That's not exactly what Minter said. Our offense wasn't what it's been known to be last year because of the great Daniel Falalele. How do you say his name? Yeah, I don't know. No, he did make mention of Lamar, of him not wanting Lamar to run. I heard it with my own ears, SG, not wanting him to run as much. He did say that. When is Jalen Milroe? When's Jalen Milroe goat tour coming? I want to see him play, but Sam is a dog too. Yeah, Jalen Milroe is very interesting. That's interesting. I think it's serving him well to be able to sit back and not have to play immediately with Sam Darnold there. If Sam Darnold gets a little bad, Sam Darnold doesn't get hurt though. He gets mono. He doesn't get hurt. Falala. Is that what it is? That's an awesome name. But yeah, Sam Darnold doesn't. He's not a guy that you would deem injury prone. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could see Milroe getting some play if he is able to start a few games. Looks really good. It's like, wow, he might even look better than Sam Darnold. Kind of like what we saw with Malik Willis. I see a lot of Packer fans saying, "Man, I don't want to lose him. He might be better than Jordan Love." People have said that. That's not coming from me. People have said that. Only reason I could see Malik Willis going to the Jets is he'd probably start right away. Well, he's going to start wherever he goes. He's going to start right away wherever he goes. Then they're not going to give a guy 30 to 30. He's going to demand 30 to 35 million. He's going to get it from somebody, and you're not paying a guy that much to bring him in and be part of a quarterback competition. He's going to start. If he goes to Minnesota, he's starting there. If he goes to Arizona, he's starting there. There's not going to be any ifs, ands, or buts about it. What are other teams? Atlanta's another team that I heard. They're not paying Michael Penix right now. Michael Penix is always hurt. If they decide to open up the pocketbook and give him that money, he's going to come in as the starter. It's going to come in as the starter. And then Michael Penix becomes trade bait at that point, Jets need a QB 1, 2, and possibly quarterback 3. Yeah. I mean, listen, give me Tanner McGee, give me whatever, Davis Mills, give me Geno Smith for all I care this year. I mean, I really don't care. I don't care who the quarterback's going to be. If it's going to be like everybody talks about Tanner McGee like he's done something, like he started a couple of games for the Eagles and looked okay. People are like, no, get that guy. He's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be good. If he's starting every week for the Jets this year, I'm not like, oh man, we're going to be a 10-win team. He could surprise, I guess, but I wouldn't count on it. Just Party comes in with a 10 says, interesting stat I saw the other day. Not a single quarterback in NFL history has ever had a rookie start the Super Bowl. Could we see that happen in the next 5 to 10 years, or is this just out of reach? I mean, I'm not going to say we couldn't see it happen. It doesn't seem ridiculous to me. But you have to have an incredible roster. Your roster, that's the thing, is your roster has to be perfect up and down. And if you have that type of roster, you're likely not drafting high enough to get a quarterback that is going to be, the top quarterback in a draft. Now, you could get lucky and land a guy in the second round or with a late first rounder. When did Tyler Shuck went in the second round, right? Let's say you get a guy like that. But would Tyler Shuck be able to take a team through that playoff gauntlet and then win a Super Bowl. I mean, if the team is so good where they can just limit the hell out of what this guy does, yeah, I could see it happening. It's probably unlikely, but I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility. Minter made the trenches a point of emphasis in his presser today. And even if Lamar isn't as freakishly fast as before, let's not act like he isn't a great passer now. I'm not concerned about him. No, listen, I think Lamar is a very underrated passer. I have said that over and over again. Lamar Jackson is a much better passer than anybody's given him credit for. I'm not saying the Ravens are going to be a bad team, but I could see them missing the playoffs again. I don't know. I don't know what Jesse Minter's going to be as a head coach. He seems like a guy who can get a lot out of a defense when they don't have a lot of top names. You know what I mean? I think he got the most out of the Chargers defense. So in that regard, I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to have the defensive problems they had last year. Can Lamar stay healthy, though? What's the running back situation going to be with Derrick Henry? He didn't look great last year. You're probably going to lose Isaiah Likely. So I think there are question marks on offense. Can Lamar stay healthy? That's another thing. Can he stay healthy? So, it's just a lot of question marks with the Baltimore Ravens right now. But, we'll see. I'm just taking a cautious approach with them. And I have just an unnatural love for Joe Burrow. So, I'm just like, he doesn't need a defense. Oh, they're going to go to the playoffs. Don't worry about that. Ashley comes in with a 20 spot. Hold on 1 second. Let me get that. There we go. Ashley, by the way, is your television champion. Just let it not be missed by anybody on stream. Let me just make sure I have all of this documented, and then I will read the super chat. But the NFL offseason is so fun. There's so many ifs and whats and who knows. I mean, looking at things now is probably a fool's game. They're trying to make predictions right now, and I'm sitting here saying, yeah, I don't know if the Ravens are going to be a playoff team. A lot's going to happen. There's going to be a lot that happens in free agency. There's going to be a lot that happens. Guys are going to get injured before the season even starts. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. A lot is going to change. But I'm telling you, in the Cowboys fans in here are going to be happy to know that I think the Cowboys, as of right now, I'm looking at that NFC East, and I'm just like, that's going to be the Cowboys division. They're probably going to come out with 2 starters on defense out of this draft. They're not really losing anything. They just tagged George Pickens. I mean, I don't know. Ashley, I just updated that. So the Cowboys look like a team that is going to be scary because I'll tell you that are going to be scary because I don't know what the Giants are going to be. I don't know what Washington's going to be. I don't know what the Eagles are going to be. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. Eagles fans hate when I say that, but I stand by it. Anyway, prediction. Kellen Moore is going to stay with the Saints for 15 years at least and will enjoy much success, including at least 1 Super Bowl and many playoff appearances. Yeah, I like Kellen Moore. I don't know that I'm ready to predict the Super Bowl for him in a 15-year tenure, but I like Kellen Moore a lot. I think they got their guy. I was saying this towards the end of the season when the great Philip Quinn was in here. I was like, yeah, I really like Kellen Moore. And if anybody's going to get anything out of Tyler Shuck, it's going to be him. And then all of a sudden, Tyler Shuck started going on that little run. We'll see what he does this year. We'll see what he does this year. But, I do think they got a good one in Kellen Moore. Jay, thank you very much, Ashley. Jay Garza comes in. Your beard makes dreams come true. Does it? Because it hasn't made any Jet fans' dreams come true, Jay Garza. Jay Garza is a Cowboys fan, by the way. But I appreciate it. He loves the beard. I think the beard is just, it's like a beard. I don't think there's anything magical about it. Maybe I'm trying to throw you all off the scent. Jay Garza, I have you on here somewhere. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much, Jay Garza. Thank you so much for the support, man. You're a very kind and generous human, as are all of you. Remy the Enforcer comes in with a $5, says, happy, heard a birthday, disturbing joke. Oh, wait a minute. Being PFA's birthday and all, you realize having a birthday, S3X is actually celebrating your parents. Oh, I know what you're saying there. You're saying the SEX word. Okay. Having birthday SEX is actually celebrating your parents having SEX. LOL, says Remy the Enforcer. I don't know that I agree with that, but okay. All right. I can see how you can get there. I don't know if that would be like you're celebrating that. I think to celebrate something, you have to knowingly celebrate it and say, this is what I'm going to celebrate today. And I don't know that anybody would want to celebrate that. Thank you very much, Remy. Let's see. Samuel Miller comes in with a 15 spot and says, have you seen the photo of the Titans coaching staff? Yes, I sent it to you a while back. I made a joke of it. I made a joke about it in one of my last skits, by the way, Samuel. So if you missed a couple of those, check them out. You know what? I'm actually posting a video tomorrow, which is all of the AFC. It's already scheduled. All of the AFC grades. And then there's also some commentary between, and there is also in there information about what makes a team a dynasty villain. What there are conditions for this, and they are listed out in that video. So it's dropping tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's already scheduled. It's going to be on here on YouTube. So check it out, and you will get all of that information. Every one of them is bald, shaven, and several of them have beards. You could be a coach on the Titans. I don't know how Robert Saleh and I would get along, because I would make too many Jets comments to him. I'd be like, oh, if we start winning, I'd be like, you couldn't do that with the Jets, really? Now all of a sudden, you get it now, right, Robert? You get it now? Good. It's good that you got it now. Should we bring Zach Wilson in? Do you want him? Let's just get rid of the quarterback that we have now that shows promise and bring in Zach Wilson. Should we do that? Because he's got a good arm. Oh, I know. Let's pass up on an awesome receiver so we can draft a guy like Will McDonald. Do you want to do that? And then sit him most of the year. We should do that. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, where are you going? Come back. I'm not done. That's exactly what would happen. That is exactly what would happen. And I would be fired. Because he would be my boss, I guess. We would live in a world where Robert Saleh is my boss, and I would get fired because I would make too many nasty comments. That's exactly what would happen. I wouldn't be able to help myself, though. I would not be able to help myself. I would be part of the shaved crew, though, because this is totally not ball. Thank you very much, Samuel Miller. Samuel Miller is your number 2 contender, by the way. I'm going to get his number 2 contendership updated ASAP right now. There we go. Hold on. Let me fix that. So yeah, Robert. Yeah, I can't. I wouldn't be able to work on his staff. I wouldn't. I mean, the paycheck would be good, I guess, right? Depending on what he's offering me. If he offers me a certain amount, there could be a clause in there where I would just keep my mouth shut. But it would be so hard. It would have to be. I would probably have to be making more than he makes, just on principle. There we go, Samuel Miller. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. Let me get that. Oh, wait a minute. I messed something up. Hold on. Yeah, I messed up Samuel Miller's total there. I gotta change that. But yeah, Robert Saleh. I'm actually very, very interested to see what the Titans are going to do. Samuel Miller's up to 650 even. Sorry about that, Samuel. The colors, like when I see a yellow, like the yellow, it triggers as a 1999 in my head because of the way, but the colors are very similar. With the color of the super chat. Jeff's Party comes in with a tenner. Hold on one second. Kellen Moore was so inconsistent in Dallas, but I almost wish Dallas would have kept him. You can't blame him for Jerry Jones' total mismanagement at the running back position. Happy birthday, PFA. Thank you very much, Jeff's Party. In Dallas, I think he was good in that. He was inconsistent. That was his first stint as an offensive coordinator. I don't think he was terrible in Dallas, but you would. I mean, you had your finger on that situation more so than I did. I'm just looking at it from a different vantage point. But when I heard he was going to be, this is why the Mike McDaniel thing with Justin Herbert is so interesting to me, by the way. When I heard he was going to be with Justin Herbert over in Los Angeles, I was like, well, that is a win situation for the Chargers. And it didn't turn out to be that. So that's what leads me to believe maybe Justin Herbert isn't. Hi, how's everything?
Great.
Happy birthday, PFA. This is a birthday stream dedicated to you. Did you know that?
I know. I just got on to say that I was home, and then I was like, wait, did I see that right?
Yeah, look at that. It's
that's very nice.
You got a lot of people saying happy birthday. Look,
oh,
right
thank
there.
You.
Yeah, a lot of people said happy birthday. They started the stream.
Birthday workout.
She had her birthday workout.
And it was very hard.
Very hard. She did legs.
Some new moves,
legs are hard. She did. I did legs with her one day, and I had to stop and almost vomit. That's a true story.
A very true story.
That is a very true story. Oh, you're welcome. So yeah, the Kellen Moore situation in Dallas. I think Dallas was. I'm sorry, I was talking about the Chargers. When he was with the Chargers, I was like, that's a great situation for Justin Herbert. And then I was like, whatever. How many excuses are we going to give Justin Herbert? This has got to be it with Mike McDaniel there. Their center just retired, right? And that offensive line wasn't great anyway. They need to put all their resources into the offensive line. I know they have 2 tackles, but they were both hurt last year. They need to just throw everything that they can at that offensive line and try to make sure Joe Burrow. We need to make sure he's protected too. Make sure Justin Herbert's protected because he's running out of excuses, man. If you can't get it done with Mike McDaniel and it's, oh yeah, but now my offensive line is bad. I know it was one of the worst rated offensive lines in the league, but I mean, when we look back at Justin Herbert over the years, it's like there's always something that we're pointing at saying, oh, but he didn't win because of this. If man, right? If man, the beard is peak, says Matt West. Thank you. I appreciate it. Man, I didn't know you guys really like my beard that much. Lex says happy birthday. Thank you, Lex. Are you Lex Luthor? I hope so. Oh my God, that would be awesome. The Insiders, Bears granted linebacker Tremaine Edwards permission to seek a trade. Ooh, that is interesting. And what's going to happen with DJ Moore? I heard he could possibly be traded, but then I heard they don't want to trade him because they want to keep. I mean, behind Luther Burden and Rome Odunze. And Rome Odunze, I mean, is he even going to be what we thought he was going to be? I don't know. That wide receiver class, outside of Malik Neighbors, who I'm just going to pat myself on the back for, I said he was the best receiver in that class. It's kind of, been like, not really much. But that you have Zacchaeus. Well, you also have Colston Loveland, who emerged this year. But you lose DJ Moore, all of a sudden that receiving group looks pretty thin. So I don't know if you want to let him go, but I don't know. We'll see. Justin, what if Herbert is a national treasure? Lex Luthor wears New York Jets green in his armor, and you shave your head and have a great beard. Thank you, Jay Garza. Yeah, he does wear green in his armor. I love it. Jordan Schultz says Vikings to shop DT Javon Hargrave. Really? Okay. All right. Hey, I'm telling you, man. This is the best time of year. Outside of actual football. But, we have the draft coming up. We have free agency coming up. We get to see these rookies. We're talking about who's going to be traded and whatnot. I love that the NFL is like this now, where teams are just making these moves. I'm telling you, we have this generation of GMs that grew up playing Madden and knowing what they were doing. Like they were looking at their rosters way differently than GMs at the time were. And I think that's what we have in a guy like Darren Muji. And the thing about Darren Muji is, he's got the trifecta. You have guys that are good cap guys, like Brandon Beane over in Buffalo. He's a good cap guy. He cannot evaluate talent to save his life. I don't know what Joe Shane is in New York. He kind of evaluated some guys and drafted well in some scenarios, but then didn't draft well, and now he's going to be in the mix, according to Harbaugh. he's going to be a guy that he consults with and they're going to like kind of double team this thing. I don't buy that. I think Harbaugh is going to be like, yeah, this is the guy I'm taking. You like him? No, I don't care. I think that's pretty much what you're going to get. But Darren Muji seems to have it all. He knows trade values. He knows the cap. He's looking at guys on rosters that nobody like was just like right there. Yeah, that's what I want. Guys like John Mechie, who, you know, we were all looking at a couple of years ago, like, oh man, Mechie is a nice receiver, you know, let's see what he can do. Then he kind of like falls by the wayside a little bit. Darren Muji brings him right in. And, you know, he might not be an elite receiver, but, you know, as your fourth receiver, that's not bad at all. I'll take John Mechie as my fourth receiver every day of the week. Depends on what the Jets do. If they come out of this draft with another receiver, then John Mechie will be the fourth receiver. But I mean, all of a sudden that receiver group is a strength. Adonai Mitchell at wide receiver 3. I mean, I'm down with that. Everybody's saying PFA. Thank you very much. Just Party with a Fiver says, the funniest Mike McDaniel quote, in order to win the game, you have to win the game, not lose the game. So inspirational. And it's true, though. The man speaks truth. Another thing, I have my Dolphins fan buddy talking to me about the Dolphins, saying they are in a position to tank. He said that there was something out there indicating that they were taking themselves out of the Malik Willis situation, which I didn't see. Now, to be fair, when he tells me something about the Dolphins, and I'm just kind of like, really? It doesn't sound right. It usually ends up being true. So I don't know where he gets his information from, but if they're taking themselves out of the Malik Willis stakes, then you would have to think this is a team that is totally tanking. And then that's bad for the Jets. Because if they're going to start Quinn Ewers all year, I don't think he's going to win many games. I mean, what do they have? Jalen Waddle? Achane? I don't like it. I do not want the Dolphins to have a higher pick than us. I don't want that. The only way I would be happy coming out of that is if let's just say there's some world where we trade for a guy like Tanner McKee. And he just ends up lighting it up. Like he's like Brady 2.0. He just comes in and he's like just completing every pass, 75% completion percentage. He's a dog out there. And we're like, wow, okay, this guy's putting up, maybe not 500-yard games or 400-yard games, but he's getting us downfield. We can move the football and get in the end zone. Doesn't turn it over. All right, we can win with this guy. Let's say if we were in a scenario where like that, where this guy goes out there and actually wins games, like 10 games, 9 games, because he can play the position well, not because we backed into wins, then I would say whatever. Let the Dolphins do whatever. I don't care. I think we got our guy. Now we can use those 3 draft picks and maybe trade down for a quarterback needy team, get more draft picks, and just load up on this roster. Move. But I don't see that happening. Because also, speaking of superpowers, Aaron Glenn says his superpower is calling plays. Ashley's superpower is the ability to fall asleep before 10 o'clock. But Aaron Glenn said his superpower is calling plays, calling defensive plays. If you have a superpower, why wouldn't you just utilize that superpower from the start? Right? That'd be like Superman coming down saying, I'm not going to protect people. I'm going to let somebody else do it. I'm going to let, Booster Gold, you go do it. And then all of a sudden, Superman's about to get fired from Earth. And he's like, no. I can use my superpowers. It's cool. I'm really good at this. I don't buy it. But can the Finns out-tank Glenn and his superpower play calling? Oh, boy. Wait a second. Pat says, Superfly Jimmy Snuka versus Dino Bravo. Weird night, bacon cookies for Scream 7 launch. Oh, man, I want to see that. And watching WrestleMania 5. and watching PFD. Jimmy Snuka versus Dino Bravo. Man, Dino Bravo, those are both sad stories. I mean, but man, 80s wrestling was peak. It was, I can just sit there. I can watch 80s promos all day long. Wrestling, as much as, like, I still love wrestling. But it's lost something. And I don't think that's just, I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, back in my day, things were better. No, I think football's better now. I think the world is better now. We wouldn't have the opportunity to sit here and talk to people I never would have met unless we had the technology we have today. I love the way the world is today, but wrestling, apart from the Attitude Era, which I would put next to the golden era of wrestling, and they're very different because, I have that little kid's nostalgia with like the 80s, with like the superhero type wrestlers, the larger than life wrestlers. And then I have that Attitude Era where I'm like, these guys were just so good. Like the storylines, I'm talking mostly WWE. I mean, the guys in WCW were good, but they just weren't being used the right way. Like the Eddie Guerreros, the Chris Jerichos and whatnot. They weren't being used the right way in WCW. They would, I don't know. I love the NWO, right? I love the idea of the NWO. But if you sit there and watch, or the NWO from its inception, and then what it was morphing into, I mean, Scott Hall coming down into the ring and saying, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Awesome. Then all of a sudden, like, oh, I got somebody coming, and then Nash is there, and then we have a third man. Like, all that stuff was amazing. And then it's like the NWO happened. And we go weeks of just these weird black and white promos where they're laughing and just saying all this stuff. But the brilliant thing was they brought in Ted DiBiase to make it seem like, they said Ted DiBiase, okay, Ted Turner's a billionaire, but Ted DiBiase's a trillionaire. Like, he's above Ted Turner. So that was wise, because it was like, well, the NWO, they have this financial backing of Ted DiBiase. They can do whatever they want. They can buy off the cops. They bought off referees, but it was just executed so poorly. Everything turned into a bunch of guys in the ring, and it was just a bunch of sloppy bumps, and it just looked like a big mess. And then they're bringing in guys like, guys I liked, like Marcus Bagwell and Scott Norton, but it's like you're watering it down with just these guys. It should have stayed Hogan, Hall, Nash, and you bring in 6. That would have been cool. But they did, but I didn't like when they did the Giant thing. But it made sense because it's like, okay, if you have DiBiase, he can maybe tempt people with his money. So the Giant comes in, but then they turn on the Giant. So it would have been cool, like, once in a while somebody turns and they join the NWO because Ted DiBiase was like, yeah, I was able to buy this guy. But doing what it didn't make any sense. And it was just, everything just turned. Every week it was just like a, part of my language, a shit show of just a bunch of guys in the ring and Hogan grabbing the mic and saying, look at this, brother. And, and it just, I hated it. I hated it. The NWO should have been different. And if I had a time machine, I would go back and I would have made it different. You have to wonder, here's Jeff's party. You have to wonder, he is the supreme ruler of the stream, by the way, and holding that title well tonight. You have to wonder if in past years the Jets took advice from Boeing on how to approach quality. Also, Will Levis to the Vikings. Has anybody actually seen that happening? Was that a true, is this something that's being talked about? Because I talked about this months ago and I haven't heard anything about it. So to me, that would be awesome. The Jets comment, Jeff's party. I'll let you get away with that one. But you'll all see. The Jets are on the way up. They're on the come up. And I will not have people disparage this organization. And if you disparage it, I will remember your name and I will make fun of you. When it all comes to fruition, which it will. It absolutely will. But Will Levis to the Vikings, I think, would be a phenomenal move. There is a possibility, though. I mean, it is risky. There is the possibility that Will Levis just isn't good. I don't think so. I think if he has Kevin O'Connell's tutelage there, I think he can be that reclamation project. I mean, could he be worse than J.J. McCarthy? No, he's way more athletic. I don't know, man. As a last resort, if you can't get Malik Willis, right? I mean, what do you go, Derek Carr? You want to go Derek Carr and get Justin Jefferson killed? Talk to Chris Olave. See what he says about that. Talk to Chris Olave's brother who's tweeting about it. He's like, dude, this guy is going to get my brother murdered out there. But, you know, Derek Carr's only 31, I think, right? But still, I want to be down with that. I feel I'm terrified for any group of receivers that is out there running routes with him throwing footballs. But Will Levis would be interesting in Minnesota. It's so interesting. Even if they go out and get Malik Willis, I would still. Will Levis is going to cost you nothing. That's another interesting thing about the Mac Jones situation. Is the Niners could demand a lot because Mac Jones is getting paid nothing right now. It's like $5 million a year, so he's getting paid nothing. You don't have to, and you can pay him essentially whatever you want. Like, hey, you prove it. You know what I mean? We'll throw a couple. We'll give you $7 million. Well, prove it. And Mac Jones has no say. He has to go wherever they trade him. So he has no leverage whatsoever. But that can they can say, listen, it's not hurting our books. We can afford him for next year. So you have to really entice us to move him. A desperate team could do that. Once the NWO was half the roster, it was horrible. I would argue, Tim, and maybe you haven't seen it in a while, but I watched it recently and I was like, this got bad very fast. And back then, I guess because, it was all new and we were just watching it for the first time, it seemed better than it actually was. One of the coolest things that happened, because they had the fake Sting, it was weird. And then it's like they started setting things up, but then didn't follow up on it. That was WCW for you, by the way. They wouldn't follow up on storylines, so they would leave you on a cliffhanger, and then you'd be watch next week, and then like nothing would happen to resolve what occurred. So it was terrible all around. But one of the coolest things that happened was the DDP thing, because they were doing the whole, because the Diamond Stud, Scott Hall, came in with DDP, was like his valet or something. Kind of like Diesel was with Shawn Michaels in WWE. And it was established that he knew Kevin Nash, so they were interfering in his matches, which was cool. And DDP like really had no idea. Like he was just kind of like, what's going on? And then they came out and they were offering him, hey, we could bring you in. And DDP's argument for that was, you brought in like 8 guys before you came to me, though. So how badly do you really want me? It was disrespectful. So no, I'm not going. So then they had that. There was one match where they interfered. And then DDP won. I think he just won outright, but they happened to be at ringside. I don't remember if they interfered, but they come in the ring, they have the shirt, they throw the shirt at him, he puts it on, and then he hugs them and everything. Kevin Nash turns around, he's playing to the crowd, and DDP just holds on to Scott Hall's hand as Scott Hall is about to turn away from him and gives him a diamond cutter. And then Nash hears it and turns around, and DDP just rolls out of the ring and gets the hell out of there. That was one of the coolest things. DDP was so underrated. He was one of the best wrestlers on the roster, and I did not appreciate him at the time. I really didn't. The Hollywood Hogan heel turn was a shock when it happened. Yeah. Well, Bobby Heenan gave it away, right? Bobby Heenan's like, Hogan comes walking out, and they're like, oh my God, Hulk Hogan's here. And Bobby Heenan's all like, but whose side is he on? And they apparently they got really pissed off at him for that. Jess Party with another $5 says, I've always felt that the Stone Cold Kurt Angle and Undertaker, The Rock, and Triple H were the best ever in the WWE. Stone Cold was the best. Yeah, that was the Attitude Era. If anybody who tells me the Attitude Era was better than I call it the superhero era. Nobody else calls it that. But it was the golden era is essentially what they call it. That was, with Hogan and Piper's Pit and all that. that hit differently because we were led to believe that was real as kids, right? So and they never came out and said it was fake. So there were people who that back then it was like an argument, like no, wrestling's fake, but you would still have adults be like, no, what are you talking about? It's fake, and they would fight you to the death on it because the business was protected. So things just hit differently back then. Andre the Giant turning on Hulk Hogan, it was like the biggest thing that happened. I was terrified for Hulk Hogan. I was just like, he cannot beat this guy. This guy's massive. I don't know how he's going to do this. I'm surprised he beat King Kong Bundy, but he's not going to beat this guy. 80s WWF was cartoony. Yeah, but it was perfect for kids. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there as like a 7-year-old watching the Road Warriors and the Ultimate Warrior like screaming into the mic. And I was like, oh yes, I'm here for this. I'm here for all of it. Keep going. But the Attitude Era, as those people aged and we started getting a little edge to ourselves, like the teenage attitudes and whatnot, then all of a sudden you have Steve Austin out there flipping people off. We're just like, oh yes. So that era was the guys on the mic, Austin on the mic. I think Austin was better than The Rock on the mic. Austin could just, to me, he's the best all time on the mic. I put Piper up there, but Piper, younger Piper, Piper on the mic was insane back in the day, and he would say things that were like controversial on purpose to get the heat from the crowd. But The Rock was very good. If you ever look up the first meeting between Stone Cold and The Rock, you see the way Austin talks and the way The Rock was still trying to find his way. Like he wasn't speaking as quickly as he started to speak. He was kind of coming into his own. But once Austin started speaking, man, it just like flowed out of him. He was just him, I think he's the best all time on the mic. I just listen to him constantly. Like the Rock at some point got a little, too gimmicky with his like Rudy Poo Candy ass stuff, and I wasn't crazy about that stuff. But when he was in the Nation of Domination, he was really funny. And then when I didn't like when he became a face, but the final Boss Rock I really like. Hogan body slamming Andre was epic, yeah. And apparently, the story he tells that he tore like every back muscle he had. But Tito Santana with the flying forearm, yes. Oh man, Tito Santana was awesome. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was one of my favorites too. And when the Macho Man Randy Savage, his match with the Macho Man Randy Savage in WrestleMania, one of my all-time favorites, if not my all-time favorite. I mean, any type of Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig match for me is just, it's elite. But that match was insane. And when Savage was such a good heel, man, he was such a good heel. And when he came down with the bell off the top rope, and then Steamboat couldn't breathe, he's grabbing his throat and everything. I was devastated as a kid. I was just like, no, how do I, almost like, how could they let that happen? This man I need Jack Tunney to get out here and find him. Because when Jack Tunney showed up, the president of the WWE back then, things were serious. Triple H was awesome too. Yeah. I mean, DX, for me, okay, people talk about the best factions. I think you have to separate them because the Four Horsemen were great, but like back when they were feuding with Dusty Rhodes, you know what I mean? When they were first feuding with Sting and stuff. That was when the Four Horsemen was at its peak. I always said I think the NWO was the best faction, but I've changed that drastically. To me, DX was the best faction. If you watch old DX compared to old NWO, you can't even compare it. Old DX was 1,000 times better. The storylines were better. Like everybody in DX just had a personality, and they kept it small. I think that's what made it effective. It was this group of guys. It was just, like the 5 guys in China. And it was incredible. It was incredible. But, the NWO, they had so many guys. It was insane. I remember growing up and actually believing that Ted DiBiase was really a millionaire who bought people to do his bidding. Yeah, I saw a video the other day too of him. He had a kid come in to the ring and kiss his foot for $100. It was like a teenager, and it ended up being Rob Van Dam. That's funny. I was just like, I feel like I remember seeing it when it happened, and it was just like the skinny kid, and it ended up being Rob Van Dam. Do you remember the basketball? He told the kid to dribble the basketball. If you can dribble it like 10 times in a row, he would give him $100. And on 9, he kicked it. He kicked the basketball away. I was like, oh, sorry. Hey, you didn't do it. I always loved. I loved how when Triple H broke up with Stephanie, they went to Talon. Oh yeah. Oh, happy Australian birthday, PFA. Last attempt. I say it, soldier. I say it. Sorry about that. Jake the Snake Roberts was an amazing heel. Oh, yeah. Jake Roberts was great. The DDT was another devastating move that sparked controversy back in the day. But my favorite move that he did was the short arm clothesline. It was just so cool the way he would do it. He was just like, I like those. I think that's why I like that DDP thing that he did to Scott Hall. He kind of just like was letting him go away and then just like pulled him back into the diamond cutter. But that short arm clothesline, he would just like bring the guy in and just hit him with the short arm clothesline, and that was remarkable. But yeah, him on the mic, Jake Roberts was insane. You had to pay attention to what he was saying, and when you did, it just like blew your mind. You were like, wow. It was kind of like, I feel like the Ultimate Warrior wanted to be what Jake Roberts was, but was just a completely unhinged version of it, where nothing he said made sense, but he was just screaming it in that war paint, and you were just like, yeah, but you had no idea what he was talking about. He was talking about planets and all this other stuff, all this mystical stuff. But Jake Roberts was like, he was incredible. It was incredible. So many Gen Xers got into trouble at school mimicking DX. Yes. Yep, that's true. That is true. As great as the Golden Era and Attitude Era was, my favorite wrestler will always be JYD. JYD was a staple of the Golden Era. Yeah. Junkyard Dog, George the Animal Steel was a great tag team. They were, Captain Lou Albano was their manager, right? I remember George the Animal Steel was, he had the green tongue. And I remember people telling me, no, he's like wasn't he like a football coach or something? I remember people telling me that. And I was like, no, he's just a crazy guy that teams up with the Junkyard Dog. Stop it. Triple H did pretty good for a guy who got squashed by the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, that was like in 30-something seconds, right? That was back when he was actually Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the aristocrat. And yeah, the Warrior, he had a squash match with the Warrior early in his career. Jake the Snake, before he was wrestling, was Andre's limo driver. I didn't know that, Remy. I did not know that. What's going on? It's Gio. Good to see you. What do you like about wrestling, the sport of the drama? I confess I don't see the appeal, but I acknowledge I'm in the minority. So it's a mixture of everything, because you can have a match with two technical guys, right? Like, again, I'll go back to Bret Hart and Kurt Hennig, and you're like, or Eddie Guerrero was another one. His matches were awesome. Chris Jericho, when he was younger, was another one that I thought his matches were really good. But where you know, everything just looks so clean, and it flows, and it doesn't look clunky or clumsy, and you can almost be like, this could be real. You know what I mean? Those matches you have to appreciate. The other thing is like the theatrical aspect of it. You know, you have these, it's different now. It's different now. But I mean, I don't know. There was something about Roddy Piper on Piper's Pit. You knew the person he was bringing in, he was going to get under their skin, and he was going to try to get under their skin. So you knew, and back then, again, as a kid, you thought it was real. And many adults thought it was real. I mean, Piper told stories about, you know, people, I think somebody tried to stab him or did stab him, but he had a leather jacket on that kind of caught the blade once or something. But I mean, people would get really pissed off at some of the things you did. There was, you know, even back when Hogan turned heel in WCW, there was a match. I forgot who he was wrestling, but, you know, he was Hollywood Hogan, and a guy tried to interfere in the match, and help out who Hogan was wrestling. Because it was Piper, I think. So, but back in the day, he brings in a guy like Jimmy Snuka. I don't know if you ever saw this, Ashley, but he brings in Jimmy Snuka. He's an Islander, and Piper saying all this garbage to him that's infuriating people because it's like borderline racist stuff or actually racist stuff. And he's just, he's insinuating that he's stupid because he's from the islands, and he's grabbing all, and he brought all this fruit over, and he's like, oh, I brought this fruit here to make you feel at home or whatever. And he grabs a coconut and smashes him over the head with the like legitimately smashes him in the head with the coconut, and then just goes to town beating him up. And you're watching this, and you're just like, oh my God, this. But it was all apart from hitting him in the head, because apparently he really did hit him in the head with a full-on coconut. Jimmy Snuka was like, yeah, go ahead, do that. But that, it was just like it brought out an emotion in you. And then when we get to the Attitude Era and just later on, it's you're watching these guys trash talk one another, and they're doing it so skillfully that it's entertaining. And then they're having these matches, so it's kind of like you're watching a TV show and you get invested in the characters. And now this character that you like is having beef with this character that you don't like, and you get emotionally invested, and it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you, man, I went to a WWE event fairly recently, about a year ago. It was a Saturday night's main event, cage match between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest was one of the big matches, and the crowd was so much fun. Like, the crowd was just electric. It was insane. Good news is Jake Roberts has actually been clean for a while. Yeah. Momentum Technology says, happy birthday, PFD. Oh, it's PFA's birthday, not my birthday. My birthday's in June. Hitting Snuka with the coconut was pretty real. Yeah, he totally bashed him with the coconut. But the way he would tell the story later on was, I'm holding this coconut and I'm telling Snuka, like, you really want me to hit you with this? And Snuka's like, yeah, brother, go ahead, just hit me with it. Like, these guys were insane. And then there was also a promo with Piper when I think he was in AWA, where he bashed a beer bottle over his head, just a full-on beer bottle. Now, I don't know if they did something to it to make it smash easier or whatnot, but he took the beer bottle and he's just delivering this promo to tell whoever he's feuding with at the time. I don't remember who it was. Tell it, like, listen, I'm crazy. You don't want to mess around with me. And he has a full beer bottle in his hand, and he smashes the beer bottle on his head and immediately starts gushing blood. And it's just like, you were just like, what the hell? They were built differently back then. They were built differently back then. Yeah, Morton Downey Jr. in the ring. I remember that. Momentum Technology says, my bad, PFA's birthday of happiness. Yes. Might have been spun sugar, easier to break. Yeah, but he did start bleeding immediately. So, yeah, long live Eddie. Eddie Guerrero was awesome, man. That was so sad. It was so sad. They got away with a lot more back then. I don't think adorable Adrian Adonis would fly today. No, I mean, but even in the Attitude Era, they did a lot. They did a lot of crazy stuff in the Attitude Era. That was just kind of cringy, but the good stuff was really good. What I was really disappointed with was Diamond Dallas Page. They also bringing the NWO in, right? They brought the NWO in at No Way Out. They make this, Vince McMahon's like, I'm going to destroy my creation, and everybody knows, it's No Way Out, NWO, he's going to introduce the NWO. So Hogan comes back to the WWF for the first time in forever. It's a big deal. They come down to the ring at No Way Out, and they're just talking about how, no, we're just fans. We just want to be accepted here. And I was like, that's weak. That is so weak. What they should have done, what would have been awesome, and this is where WWF dropped the ball. They apparently reached out to Eric Bischoff, and Jim Ross didn't like Eric Bischoff and was told to reach out to him to see if he would want to come in and work with the WWE, work with them, or WWF at the time. And Eric Bischoff was around the time. Eric Bischoff says that he always has like this family reunion every year, and it's like he doesn't do anything but that family reunion. So Jim Ross was like, hey, we want to know if you want to come in and work with us. And he's like, no, I got this thing going on. I'm I don't even know what this is. They then never mentioned to him that it was going to be an NWO reunion. And he said, if I would have known that, that would have been a different story. But what I'm a little confused about when I hear that story is, but I thought you were friends with Hogan. Hogan would have known. And Hogan might have told you, hey, heads up, they're going to call you and see if you want to come in. So that part, unless Hogan was just sworn to secrecy contractually or something. I mean, if what I would have done, what would have been awesome is you have the pay-per-view, right? In the middle of the pay-per-view, you have Eric Bischoff come through the crowd, hop over the rail, go into the ring as an announcer is in there, not a wrestler, because he's not going to be able to manhandle a wrestler. Grabs the mic from the announcer, shoves him out of the ring, and just starts talking about, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And starts talking about how and then they play it out over the next few weeks. All of a sudden, Bischoff shows up, and now Scott Hall's with him. And Bischoff and Scott Hall show up, and Kevin Nash is with him. And then you're building up to Hogan. Could you imagine going weeks like that? That would have been incredible. That would have been incredible, and they completely dropped the ball on it. I thought that was a real beer bottle for that. I thought it was too. I don't know. I don't know. Michael Jackson's going to be the biggest movie of 2026? Yeah, probably. Oh, well, I mean, no. I think Avengers Endgame is. Oh, sorry, Avengers Endgames. Avengers Doomsday. I think this one right here is. That's going to be the biggest movie. I think that's going to be the biggest movie. Can't wait for Project Hail Mary. Yeah, I saw a couple previews to that. That looks interesting. There are some pretty good movies coming out. I still want to see Send Help. I haven't seen that, but that one's on my radar. There are a couple of Scream 7 I want to see. A couple of good movies coming up, but I'm so excited for Avengers. I'm so excited for Spider-Man, Brand New Day. They're going to start filming Superman. I think they're going to start filming it in the next couple of weeks. Then we got the Matt Reeves Batman movie coming out, and then so apparently James Gunn's trying to fast track that a little more so they can get to their Batman. I can't wait to hear the casting of that Batman. I'm seeing like every casting I'm seeing, I'm pretty on board with. There isn't really one that I've seen that I'm like, no, I don't think he can pull it off. So, man, Mortal Kombat, the soldier, yeah, that looks cool. That looks cool. Who were we saying was going to be in Mortal Kombat? Was it going to be Urban Meyer? Yeah. Urban Meyer was going to be in that movie, right? The Odyssey, Avengers in that order. Michael Jackson, The Odyssey, and Avengers in that order. I'm going to say Avengers, Odyssey, and Michael Jackson. That's what I'm going to say. Because I think The Avengers is going to appeal to everybody. Michael Jackson might not appeal to the younger generation who doesn't really know who he is. Like, they know who he is, but, like, you know, they're kind of like, yeah, I know he was a pop star, but they don't really know the impact that he had. And the Odyssey, I gotta say, I'm not that excited about that. I have a problem with Christopher Nolan movies. I need subtitles on screen for Christopher Nolan movies. If I don't get subtitles, then I think I'm out. Soldier's nervous about Avengers? I'm not. Oh, no, I think they're going to nail it. I think they're going to nail it. Yeah, so he's not going to be Batman, Pat. He's definitely not going to be Batman. I think he would be a little too big. Maybe Absolute Batman. I mean, because I don't have the Absolute Batman here, but Absolute Batman, if you haven't seen him, is just jacked. But and in DCKO, he killed Superman. But there are a few guys. Brandon Sklar. I'm curious to see who they're going to get to play the Joker too. There are a lot of good candidates for the Joker. So yeah, I'm really curious to see that. But is it Richardson or is it like Rick? Is it like Rickman? I've heard his name pronounced so many different ways. Absolute or Frank Miller Batman, yeah. But that was what we kind of got with Ben Affleck, was that Frank Miller type Batman. Trevor Lawrence is Sonya Blade. I am not in any way nervous about the Avengers, though. Not in any way. I'm already annoyed with RDJ being Doom. Yeah, I know. From when that happened, I remember you weren't too happy about that. But from what I'm seeing, I don't know that he's going to get a lot of time without the mask off. And I'm curious to see how they go about delivering this, telling the story. Are they going to give us a moment where, Peter Parker is like, oh my God, that's Tony Stark? Or, or are they just going to say, well, it's going to be RDJ and we're not going to really touch the Tony Stark thing? Or maybe it's, they can go so many different routes. They had the whole multiverse thing. It could be Tony Stark, a different version of Tony Stark. Maybe the Tony Stark that we knew was really Victor Von Doom, who the Starks adopted. I mean, that's one way they can go. That was actually a storyline in the comics. So they can go a bunch of different routes, but I'm just glad we're getting Doctor Doom. And the way he looks with the outfit on, the things that I've seen so far, it looks incredible. He doesn't look cheesy. I was a little concerned when I saw at the end of Fantastic Four when he was there kneeling next to Franklin Richards and had the mask in his hand. I was like, he doesn't look great. I was like, okay, he looks all right. I mean, I guess I'm excited that that's Doctor Doom, but the images that I've seen, like, he actually looks pretty formidable and kind of frightening. So very happy. I'm just glad we're getting Doctor Doom, and we're going to get it done the right way. They have, and then we have the X-Men coming. There are so many good stories they can do with the X-Men that Sony screwed up. Not Sony, Fox. The Fox screwed up. We can get a real Dark Phoenix saga. We can get a real Age of Apocalypse. I mean, there are so many good stories. It's going to be, I think they're going to nail it because, they're taking the less is more approach again, and Kevin Feige can have his hands in everything. And when he had his hands in everything, things were good. It's when they started pushing content out ridiculously that it is when everything just went straight to hell. Gustav Skarsgård would make a good Joker. Yeah, I've seen that. The guy from Stranger Things who played Vecna, I think he would make a good Joker too. But apparently he doesn't want to play villains for a while anymore. But I mean, if you're offered the Joker, you have to take it. Floki from Vikings. Let me look at him. I don't know who that is. Oh, all right. I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. He has the look. Certainly has the look. He's got that crazy look in his eye. He's got that lanky appeal. I could totally see that. All right. So wait a minute. No, I was thinking of Bill Skarsgård, right? Is that who I was thinking of? Yeah. So this is Gustav Skarsgård as Floki from Vikings. I could see that. Bill Skarsgård is, so he's one that's been talked about a lot. I mean, obviously you could see it because he played Pennywise. Are they related? I don't know if they're related. I'm assuming they probably are. I know their dad was in Avengers. Riddler. I always thought back in the day, I thought David Hyde Pierce would have been an excellent Riddler. From Frasier, Niles, I thought he would have been an excellent Riddler. I also thought, and I know he's the subject of controversy, but back when he was just an actor everybody loved, what's his name? Damn it, I can't remember it. I can't remember the movie that he was in either. That was, oh my God. I'll remember it. Hold on. Kevin Spacey. I thought Kevin Spacey would have been a great Riddler back in the day, too. I feel like that is what the Riddler's supposed to be, but David Hyde Pierce would have been a remarkable Riddler. If he kills all Phase 4 and 5 characters, it has hope. Well, so they're gonna do a reset. So they're gonna do away with a lot of characters. I mean, I think we're gonna get a reset on like a new Captain America. I think we're gonna get a new Thor. I think we're gonna get they're gonna reset a bunch of these guys. We're probably gonna keep Spider-Man, Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but The thing that does concern me a little bit is the Wolverine thing, because they want to keep him as Wolverine from what I heard, but I guess this is all fluid. Like they're going to kind of just go and see how it pans out, see how the movie does. But I do want Secret Wars split up into 2 movies. If they just go Doomsday, Secret Wars, and that's it, I think they're going to try to cram too much into 6 hours that it's not going to work. I think we need like 9 hours. You know, you got a 3-hour Doomsday, Secret Wars Part 1, Secret Wars Part 2. Bam. I mean, even give me Secret Wars Part 3 if you want. That might be a little overkill. But, you know, and then you can have all these characters in there and you can kill them off as you need to. And then we get the whole reset. And, you know, we can recast guys, and we have the actual 616 universe with the mutants and everybody together. I like I want a legitimate World War Hulk movie. That's going to be hard to do because of the whole deal with Universal, though, I think. But they could if they do it as more of like an Illuminati Avengers movie, bringing the Hulk in. They just can't call it World War Hulk. But we kind of got that in the Thor movie, where, you know, he was on that planet, and then there was the top gladiator. That's kind of like what World War Hulk was, but I want to see him be shot out into space by the Illuminati. I want to see him destroy Las Vegas, and they're like, we can't keep him here, you know. And Submariner was basically like, okay, but if you realize if you shoot him out into space, he's going to figure out a way to get back here, and we're all screwed, right? Submariner was like, this is a bad idea. that's what essentially happened. Werewolf, spoken in all Old English by Eggers. He's in a real classic horror movie villain's phase. Werewolf, yes, I want to see that. I heard about that. I definitely want to see that. We didn't even slightly get World War Hulk, but we got a portion of it. We got like the whole point of him being in that, on that planet, is this, they plucked that from World War Hulk, so they can't really. They can kind of do it again, but we need a little space between it, and they have to do it differently. But it was the general idea is what that was. No, but yeah, you're right. World War Hulk was awesome. But we need Doomsday to hit, and I think it's going to. That's why I have this here. That, and because of the whole Jets plan, which that's tied to, by the way. So yeah, Bill Skarsgård and Gustav are brothers. Yeah, I mean, you know, give me either of them as the Joker. I'd be happy with that. Either of them as the Joker would be fine by me. I'm looking forward to the new Evil Dead movie is going to start filming soon. I'm here for that. If they pursue this whole idea of there being multiple Necronomicons, they could just go forever with that. Just in different spots, people find Necronomicons, and now you have these Evil Dead creatures rising up. And I mean, you can almost build to something with that, where there are these Deadites in different corners of the world, and now they all start coming together and they form an army. It would be almost like Evil Ernie. Bruce Campbell, if they bring back Two-Face, I think he's aged out of that. Now. How old is Bruce Campbell? Back in the day, that would have been cool. Yeah, Bruce Campbell is 67. I don't think we could have a Bruce Campbell Two-Face. No, I don't think anybody would do that. Younger Bruce Campbell, yeah, I would have been down with that. But 67-year-old Two-Face, and he would probably be, by the time they actually did that. Well, so wait, they did cast somebody as Two. Oh, didn't they cast the guy who plays the Winter Soldier as Two-Face in the Batman and the Robert Pattinson Batman movie? I think they did that. I think he's actually going to be Two-Face, from what I heard. But if they were casting Bruce Campbell in the James Gunn, I mean, we don't even know who Batman is yet. You're talking about Bruce Campbell being 70 by the time that comes to fruition. That would not be good. 6'7". Oh, there's SG. Yep. Barry Keoghan as the Joker was eerie. I just think it would be too creepy. I don't like when they do that stuff with the Joker though, where they kind of take liberties with him. I'm just like, what's up? What happened? What happened to his face? Why does he look like this? You know, they got away with it with the Heath Ledger Joker because he was just so good in that role, and that was like, I guess there was more of a sense of realism there, which there is more of a sense of realism in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, but I saw those scenes and I wanted to like it so badly, and I was kind of like, okay, this is okay. I love the character so much, so any iteration of him, except that Jared Leto version. I hated that. I hated that. I was not on board with that at all. I tried to be, man. But the Barry Keoghan Joker, I didn't entirely hate it, but I was just like, this is not the Joker. Like, this is not the Joker. It's cool. It's like an Elseworld Joker, and that's what I love that James Gunn said these are Elseworlds. But it's just not the Joker. I want the guy who fell in the vat of chemicals and dresses up in a purple suit. Is that so hard to do? Like, is that so hard to do? Give me the crazy clown. Not a guy who's... what happened to his face? Isn't that even a smile? I don't know. He's crazy. And I think he acted the part well. Very well. But man, like I just want the clown prince of crime, man. Not like this dirty guy. This dirty, crazy guy. I'm all jokered out. Can we get a good Clayface story now? Well, we're getting the Clayface movie, so I'm pretty excited about that. The Clayface story is awesome. The Clayface story is awesome. Mark Hamill is the best Joker. Did you ever hear the Tim Curry when he was trying out for that part? It wasn't very good. And I love Tim Curry, but it wasn't very good. Mark Hamill was, man. Mark Hamill was incredible. Where's the bar? It needs a bar. Urban's first day in Jacksonville. SG comes up with an oldie but a goodie. SG actually quoted one of the new skits recently about the wide receivers. I was shocked by that. I was like, does SG not like my new skits? Because he doesn't quote them. And then he went and he gave me one of those quotes. Rowdy Eggplant comes in with a 5 and says, oh yeah, we're evading taxes, baby. Oop, they're already set up to be paid. Oh, I shouldn't have read that because if the tax man's watching this, they might come looking for you, Rowdy. He was just kidding, sir or madam. Remy is up. Wait, is that Remy? That's Rowdy. Sorry. Rowdy is up to 28 hundo as your number one contender. His name's going to be featured in the next video that drops tomorrow night, as well as all the contenders, all the patrons, and all the champions, of course. We're going to get Rowdy up on screen. Where is... Oh, here we go. This is the contender screen. There we go, Rowdy, number one contender. Thank you so much, my friend. Hell of a battle between him and Ashley for the Super Bowl. That was a battle for the ages. I don't know if we're ever going to have top that. That was, I mean, the closest we ever had to that was the battle between Tom Hartman and Red X Power a couple years ago. Man, receivers, am I right? It's like the only one I had to really move in the drive. The Dolphins are cutting everyone. Oh, wait a minute. Jack Nicholson Joker was my favorite with a hat tip to Mark Hamill. So Loco killed the Jack Nicholson Joker for me. Just Party, I'm going to, no, Just Party. So yeah, Rowdy, I did Rowdy. All right, so I get confused. Yeah, he killed that Joker for me because he said, I remember saying to him that I really liked the Jack Nicholson Joker. He's like, oh, I hate Jack Nicholson. I was like, no, but his Joker was good. And he's like, no, it was Jack Nicholson in makeup. And I was just like, oh my God, he's right. I can't unsee it now. It's just Jack Nicholson in Joker makeup. That's all it is. Oh boy. But he was the scariest well, Heath Ledger was pretty scary as a Joker. But I mean, he looked like Heath Ledger didn't look scary though. Jack Nicholson, when he's in the dark and you see the white face and he's coming toward the camera, that was actually, pretty creepy. That was actually pretty creepy. Heath Ledger just acted creepy. But visually, Jack Nicholson's Joker was pretty crazy. I like that quote about catching strays by the Jets. That was the Chargers, I believe. The Chargers made that. Yes, and you commented on it right away. I remember that, actually. Christopher Walken would have been an amazing Joker. I couldn't get past the voice of Christopher Walken as the Joker, but he was Max Schreck in Batman Returns, which I think was an underrated character, not in the comic books that I remember. That was a pretty cool character, Max Schreck. The Tim Burton Batman movies, I have an appreciation for. I really like the Tim Burton Batman movies, but it's an Elseworld. But yeah, I don't think I could have gotten past Christopher Walken's voice as the Joker. Could you imagine that? That would have been funny. Bring back some obscure villains. Where's King Tut or Egghead? Weren't King Tut and Egghead strictly made for the 60s television show? I think those characters were made for that television show. I don't think they were comic characters. But a villain I would love to see is Clock King. Clock King was... That episode of Batman the Animated Series with Clock King was one of the best. Just such a good episode. Now, I don't know that you could carry a whole movie with that, but as an episode, that was phenomenal. That's all they need to do is look at Batman the Animated Series and say, oh, why don't we do that? And, the same thing with Justice League. Just do that. Those stories are awesome. The interaction between the characters is awesome. If they bring that to the big screen, and I know James Gunn is a fan of that stuff, which is why I'm very excited. Everybody can say what they want about James Gunn. Oh, too many jokes. If he has his hands in Batman, it's going to be very joke heavy. I don't think it will. I think he knows exactly who Batman is. I think he knows that it's got to have a different vibe than what Superman had. Mock draft, yes. We're going to be doing the mock draft next Thursday. Going to be doing the mock draft. And you guys will pick your teams. Remy is well, first of all the champions are already set. If they're here, they get to make the pick for their team. Champions, contenders. So that's already squared away. But anybody else who wants to pick for their team, SG is always here. I'm sure he's going to pick for the Ravens. Remy claimed the Giants. So we're going to do that. We're going to have the mock draft. I'll set it up at the beginning of the stream. I want to do it visually different this time so that we can see the picks on screen. I got to figure out how to do that and make it look good. But if I can't, then we'll just do it the way we did it last time. But I think what I'm going to do is use one of the platforms where the AI actually offers you trades. So I'm going to give you the opportunity of accepting those trades if you want. But, act like you're actually the GM. Like, do something you would legitimately do. And then we'll just let the computer pick for the teams that aren't picked. So, I gave Matt West the Jets picks last time. I think what we'll do, Matt West, is I want to take one Jets pick, and then and then you take the other. We'll see. Maybe I'll take the first Jets pick, and then I'll give you the second one. But I want to take at least one of them this time. Jeff's Party with a 5 says Avengers versus Justice League. They were talking about since James Gunn and Kevin Feige are friends, there's a possibility. It would take a while. Like the DC universe would have to succeed and go on, and Marvel would have to continue to succeed. But if they exhaust everything else, there are a lot of stories that they can tell in DC. By the way, that would be awesome. But if they exhaust everything, we could get that at some point. That would be so much fun. Just Party is the supreme ruler of the stream, up to $57. I'll pick for Dallas. Jeff's party will pick for Dallas. All right. I'll be picking at 14. Yes. Not picking Tony Mandrich with the I-5 killer. Yeah, if you're here, Pat, you can pick for the Packers. Please take the pick. I had my draft. Well, I'll take one of the picks, and unless you don't want to pick, then I'll take both picks. But if you want to pick, man, Muji will be selling 2. I don't think he's gonna have any buyers for 2. That's the only problem. I don't think there's a player there that is firmly entrenched as the number 2 pick that people want. The only way I could see that happening is if one of these teams, let's say the Titans or somebody, they really want like Reuben Bain. And the Jets are like, all right, well, we have like 4 or 5 guys that we would be okay with taking. So, yeah, we'll trade down. But I don't know that a team is real. I think all of these teams are going to be looking at guys and saying, okay, we have like 3 or 4 guys in mind at that spot. So I don't think they're gonna have the opportunity to sell 2. I'm sure he's gonna shop it around and make some phone calls. He's gonna do his due diligence, but I just don't know what type of package people would be willing to offer considering this draft. People are saying it's a weak draft. I think it's a good defensive draft. I think there are some gems on offense too. Yeah, another thing, people keep saying the Chiefs are probably going to trade up and try to jump the Saints for Jeremiah Love, but Chiefs desperately need offensive line. That was one of their major issues. So if Travis Etienne is available, I mean, why wouldn't they do that? There are going to be some backs. Kenneth Walker might be available, which I doubt. Well, you never know. You never know. But there going to be some good backs available in free agency. Not Breece Hall, unless they want to trade for him. Give us that 3rd rounder that you want to give us. But the price might have gone up by now. Who knows? But, I don't. The Chiefs taking a running back over offensive line would be a massive mistake, I think. Even though, people are comparing him to Jahmyr Gibbs, still. The reason why Jahmyr Gibbs works is because he has an offensive line. New York Giants will be open to trades because I only get 2 picks in the first 104 picks. Who's getting the Packers? Well, here's what we'll do. Whoever's here first and calls it, we can give it to them. If there are other fans of that team here and you're here at the same time or whatever, you guys can collaborate if you want. We can do something like that. I'm sure. If there's a stalemate, if you want one person and then the other person wants someone else, I'll put up a poll and we'll see what the chat decides would be the better pick. Something like that. But I'll make sure everybody has a voice. I'm not going to say, nope, you're left out. You can't pick. Breece to the Chiefs. They're going to have to pay for him. He's going to get franchise tagged. They're not just going to let him go and let the Chiefs sign him. I would be shocked if that happened. That will be Thursday, not tomorrow. Next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. start time. And we'll do the entire first round and discuss as we go. I think I'll do, we'll see how much time we do in between picks. So, I could do about 2 minutes in between picks. I mean, not most of the teams, but we're going to have some of the teams that are computer picked because, like the Cardinals, we don't have a Cardinals fan. Do they even exist? I don't think so. I think Breece is getting transition tagged. Yeah, they're just not going to. They're just not going to let him walk, though. If there are any other Jets fans want in, I will step aside as well. Yeah, again, we could collaborate on it, though. I think that'll be fun if we have a bunch of fans of the same team. We're all bouncing ideas off each other, and then we kind of come to an agreement. I think that would be cool. We can do that. You guys can do that with other teams, too. I think I actually kind of like that because then it's like, because, if it's just, remember the last draft this isn't going to be the last draft that we do either. I mean, this is we're probably going to end up doing a couple more before actual draft day, maybe like 3 more or something. Trades is going to make it take longer. Well, not really, because what happens is when the team comes up, it'll show you if you have any trade offers. And we can just kind of look at it. There's usually like 1 or 2, and not for every pick though. It doesn't always come in for every pick, but there's like 1 or 2, and it's either yes or no. You want to take that or not? It's not going to be like, okay, now you counter. We're not doing that. I learned my lesson from the Demonverse Fantasy Football League, the Dynasty Leagues, when I was like, okay, trades are open, and then it was just like, as the GM of that league or whatever, commissioner, as they call it, it's like my phone, I think my battery died within 15 minutes. Just like all these notifications of trades. I was just like, what is going on? I'm trading up and picking Orville Reese. Well, you're going to have to trade to... Well, you see, that's the thing, is you're not going to be able to trade up. So when your pick comes, you'll see if you had you'll see if you have trade offers for that pick, is the way it works. So it's not like I start the draft and then people are like, okay, I want to trade up to 3. I want to trade up. And they're like, we're not doing that. We would be here for 7 days and 7 nights. But when your pick comes up, there might be a trade offer. And it's like, okay, do you want to pick or do you want to trade that pick? And then if you trade the pick, you're probably going to be trading out of the first round, so you're not going to get a pick. So something to think about. Settle all disputes with a coin toss. I wonder if I can get a virtual coin toss on screen so you could all see it. Because I can just be like, oh, yep, tails. Trust me. Packers need all the cornerbacks. Well, you can't take them all. You can only take one, as far as I know. How does the contract travel when a player gets traded? Does the dead cap travel with the player? In this, you mean in real life or in this scenario? Because I doubt there are going to be players involved in this scenario. But in real life, the contracts all depend on how much the team is willing to take and off the hands of the other team and whatnot. That's why the Mac Jones situation is so interesting, because there's no money involved. He's just owned by the Niners, so they can demand a lot because keeping him doesn't hurt them in any way. They have no incentive to trade him unless you give them an offer they can't refuse. Does the other team also need to sign off on the trade? So it would be the computer offering you the trade. So they've already signed off on the trade. You know what I mean? So the way it is like let's say, at 2, we're sitting there at 2 and I have the screen up. It'll tell you have a trade offer. So you look at the trade offer, and it's not going to be from a team because before the draft actually starts, we check off all the teams that people have claimed. So the trade offer would only come from the computer-generated team. That's number 1. And since they're offering you the trade, they've already signed off on it. So it's just a matter of whether you want to accept it or not. Don't forget to like the stream, says Soldier. I'll pay everyone off to trade their pick to me. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing like Jeff talk to Soldier and see if the Cowboys and Packers want to trade. If the Cowboys want to trade back from Micah Parsons. We're not doing that. We would be here for, I'm telling you, like 3 weeks. We wouldn't be done with the draft on draft day. But if I think the site that I'm using offers trade offers from the computer. So generally there will, like I said, and it doesn't happen with every pick. So if your pick comes up and there's no trade offer, the trade's off the table. But if your pick comes up and I see a trade offer there, I can be like, okay, so they're offering you this, and the Titans are offering you this team's offering you this. You want one of those deals, or you want to make the pick, and you're not going to get 45 minutes to think about it. We got a clock. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a clock. I think it's going to be 2 minutes. Once your pick starts, it's 2 minutes. That 2 minutes involves you looking at the trade offers and considering them. And if the 2 minutes is up, as they do in the NFL, you're going to miss out on that pick. So, Vontae Mack. We have to have rules. There have to be rules. Yeah, the contract is whatever the parties agreed to. Yeah. So, you know, they could say, we'll take this much money off your hands. Or if a team is incentivized to move off a guy, they'll say, we'll take all this contract, just give us the picks, and we'll eat up a big portion of the contract. So you don't have to worry about it, you know? I got some program during that season, during the season where each week it gave odds on the Bengals getting back into the playoffs. We were very optimistic when Joey B came back, but it was just a little too late. Yeah, I think the Bengals will make, if he stays healthy, I got the Bengals making the playoffs this coming year. If we go 4 years in a row without Joe Burrow in the playoffs, man, I might have to shave my beard off. It can't work. That's cruel. Then I might start to hate the Bengals. And I don't hate them. It's going to be hard for me to hate them because I love Joe Burrow, but still. Without rules, we are animals. Yes. Yes. There has to be some kind of organization to this, or else it'll be the Wild West. Fun part about contracts is there are almost no limits to what you can do. Yeah. I mean, you can look at what Darren Muji did. The contract that I have hanging on my living room wall, the Sauce Gardner contract that we talk about so much. He was just like, push all this money to the back end of it, and Colt, you worry about that. Go ahead. He did the same thing with the Garrett Wilson contract, by the way. We're not going to trade Garrett Wilson. He already said that. But if we were to trade Garrett Wilson, his big money comes at the end of that contract. And you can keep kicking that down the line if you want to, by the way. I mean, technically, the Chiefs are going to be paying Patrick Mahomes until he's 85. And you can technically do that. That's why they do these restructures. That's why when, people are talking about the, Malik Willis going to the Minnesota Vikings when they're like $40 million under, like negative $40 million in cap space. But like, oh yeah, they can offer Malik Willis a $30 million contract. It's like, well, you just kick money down the line with a bunch of other guys. And then you're going to be getting some cap. Like they're extending the cap too. So you can, if you have a guy who knows how to work the cap, you can always make it work. You can always keep kicking money down the road. It's like all of a sudden the Saints, after this year, next year, the Saints are going to have a buttload of cap space. And the Jets, we have a lot of cap space this year, but next year we're not going to have to be paying the Aaron Rodgers money anymore. We're not going to have to pay the Justin Fields money anymore. They're going to have even more. So that's why it would behoove the Jets to build the roster, get the roster right, and then grab that rookie quarterback, and he'll be free for 5 years. Unless he just balls out like by year 3, and you're like, we're just going to lock him up now. But they would have that option. Hi. So are we going to have a Patrick Mahomes day like a Bobby Bonilla day? Maybe. I wish the bank took the same answer when it came to my debt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining the Demonverse. Remember, we got the draft next week, so we're going to be doing that. We got March Madness coming up. We could watch a little March Madness. I'm down with some college basketball. If you guys are up for it, are you guys into March Madness? I would do that. But yeah, this is I'm so excited for draft day and all of this stuff coming up. I mean, we're never going to be at a loss for what to talk about. So just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. There might be some impromptu streams. So keep an eye out either on Discord or Patreon. I announced them both there. Have a great night. Thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you to Jeff's Party for being the supreme ruler of the stream once again. Jeff's Party is closing in on the number 5 contender spot, by the way. Let me, before we close this out, let me just see how close he is. He's about $75 away. Jeff's Party, you're getting closer. You can have a Cowboys fan as a contender. Has that ever happened? I don't think so. Good night, everyone in PFD, says Jeff's Party. Thank you for all the birthday wishes for PFA. This was a great birthday stream. Had a ton of fun. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for all the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ashley, the champion. Look at that. Representing. Thank you to the other champions who are here. Remember, tomorrow I've got the video that is dropping at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's going to be some answers as to if you want your team to become a villain in the NFL High universe. There are going to be some answers as to how that can happen and what the rules are. Because again, without rules, we are animals, right? Right, Jeff Sparty? That is right. Thank you for all the birthday wishes for PFA. For Lorraine, who I'm sure wishes PFA a happy birthday, who's watching every single stream, for Lucas and Astro, for PFA herself, who thanks you all for the incredible and generous birthday wishes. I am Rich Jodice, the Pro Football Demon, and I will see you guys next time.